This is the PHP.
Let's go.
The Perez Hilton Podcast with Chris Booker.
Booker.
And
The one and only
Perez Hilton.
Perez Hilton.
Perez Hilton.
Perez Hilton.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go.
Let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome to the PHP. My name is Chris Booker. He's the president of the internet, my friend, Perez Hilton. How are you?
We should let everybody know this is a very special Miss Universe edition.
Hot off the presses edition.
Like, we've scrambled to record the podcast earlier and get the podcast out ASAP. I've turned down so many interview requests because I wanted to speak first on the PHP and let you guys know everything. And also, truly, this is also selfish for me because the podcast gives me the opportunity to talk super in depth about everything that happened. And I know that a lot of people are very curious because this was a pageant shown in well over 100 countries. I think it's like over 140 countries, 80 girls competing, and there was a lot of controversy. So I think I need to start by setting the stage, which means we need to rewind a few years to 2009. When I was in that same building, a judge on the Miss USA pageant. And it was one of the highlights of my career because
It really was.
It really was, because I asked what I thought was a simple question about same-sex marriage. I remember it explicitly. The question was, and so much has changed since 2009. The question was, Vermont recently became the 4th state to allow same-sex marriage. Do you think others should follow suit? And at that point, it was down to just a few girls, and one of them was Miss Utah. And I was praying that Utah would get my question because the Mormon Church, I don't know if you know this or remember, the Mormon Church spent millions of dollars on helping to pass Proposition 8 in California. They pumped in tons of cash to discriminate, to make that the law. And instead of Miss Utah, it was Miss California that got my question. And I was like, oh, it's going to be easy breezy. She's totally going to know exactly the thing to say because she's from California. I'm sure she was prepped. Piece of cake. Well, Carrie Prejean, the then Miss California, ended up giving an awful answer. I mean,
Of course.
It was just straight up awful. And not just because she disagreed with my view on it. It was just a bad answer, and the way she answered it, I don't think was great. And then it became this thing. And this is back when I was still, super bitchy Perez. And I can guarantee you the story would have still been big, but it would not have been as big if after the pageant, I didn't go directly to my hotel room and make a vlog calling her out and basically saying what a bitch she was.
Yeah, you really gave it to her. And it really caught on. It became a white hot story where all the press commented on this. You were just basically pushed really into the eye of America. Everyone that didn't know who Perez Hilton was, I really think that was maybe your biggest moment for people that didn't know who you were.
Well, I was really proud that my simple question then really sparked a national discourse over same-sex marriage in a way that was maybe easier to understand for people and that related to everybody because not every state was having the same-sex marriage debate back in 2009. I mean, I was even on Larry King. I was on the Today Show. I was all over the media talking about this. So,
all right, we get it. You're a big star. Let's fast forward to today.
I was
Let's get to the story. We're dying. We're dying here.
So you interrupted me. So I never thought I would get invited back to the Miss USA pageant.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Now, really? Because you gave them a moment. And it's not like you asked anything that was out there. I never thought that you felt that way.
Well,
see, when you announced that you were going to be on the show again, I didn't take it from the point of, it's nuts that you're on the show again. because they didn't want you back. I just thought that it was kind of just a big deal that you were back again. Matter of fact, I'm surprised they didn't ask you back every year since then because of the publicity that you gave them. And I'm not joking about that, man. I'm not. I figured you'd be back more often.
Well, I was just surprised because, like I said, with Carrie Prejean, I was still bitchy Perez, and I really went in on her. And
you should have. But she, you know what? I'm glad bitchy Perez was around then because you should have. She was ignorant.
Yeah.
That's just it was ignorant what she said.
Yeah, and there was so much drama from her personal life and everything that then came out afterwards. She was a hot mess. Anyways.
Loved it.
So I didn't think I'd get invited back, and this is my time to spill the tea. This all happened really quickly. I got the ask last Monday night, less than a week ago, literally less than a week from this podcast recording. Monday night, I got the ask. Sunday night was the pageant. And I think you know me well enough by now. I'm a really hard worker and I strive on consistency and normalcy and a schedule. And I said yes instantly, but then I was also in a moment of panic. I need to switch all these things around and move these things. And I was also then literally plagued with parental guilt because today, Monday, my family and I were supposed to be coming down from New York City to Miami. Actually, oh my God, pause, complete aside. Right now, I am in the Versace mansion. I feel so posh. I'm recording this from Johnny Versace's old house. I was supposed to stay at the hotel next door, but the people that own it also own the Versace mansion, and they hella upgraded me to a villa. I have
Yeah, but this dump doesn't have internet. He's not even on the internet right now, though. That's the problem with this place.
It's not just this place. It's the entire block doesn't have internet. I went to the
likely story.
No, I went to the taco place next door. They don't have internet. Anyways, back to.
Wait a minute. You're not allowed to eat tacos. Are you cheating? Did you cheat today?
I had a chopped Mexican salad with chicken, so I made a healthy choice there.
That's not bad.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I made a healthy choice. I worked out with a trainer earlier and everything. Anyways, back to what people really care about.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was feeling a lot of guilt because I was not going to be able, if I agreed to do the Miss Universe, I would not be with my children and my mom coming down to Miami. And I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I know that traveling over the holidays and with 2 young kids is really stressful. Thankfully, my sister's in town and my mom's boyfriend and the nanny. So it's not like my mom would have been doing it by herself.
Yeah, it's not like you stuck your mom with it.
But I'm a good parent and I like to be there. And
okay, we know that.
Anyways,
next. Come on, next.
So I agreed to do it. And then I was so excited.
You were.
To come up.
He was very excited.
To come up with my questions. I had to, in my mind, come up with more than one question in case the pageant didn't like my first question. So how it worked in 2009 was almost every single judge just read a scripted question, except for me. I asked my question. That was something that I genuinely wanted to know that they did not write for me. And then this time I wanted to do the same thing.
Can I pause you 1 second?
Yeah.
Did you have to clear that question with them?
Yes, of course.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So I wanted to have a backup in case my top question didn't go through. And I'm jumping ahead of myself because my brain's all over the place. I also was really excited to do it because I got to wear the most ridiculous outfit. We'll talk about that going up. Anyways. Okay, so I guess let's just start to Vegas. So we get there and I get a briefing with all the other judges. The other judges were Niecy Nash, really funny actress, Olivia Culpo, former Miss Universe, and Emmett Smith, who is married to a former Miss Virginia who came as the runner-up to Miss USA and, famous football alum and Dancing with the Stars.
Number 33 for the Cowboys. Come on.
22.
I thought he was 33.
Was he 33?
I think he was 33. Could have been 22. Yeah, I'm not a Cowboy fan, so you could be right.
On social media, he's Emmett Smith 22.
Then he was 22.
All right. Anyway, so I get to the briefing and I found out a piece of information that made my heart sink. They told me and the other judges that we weren't going to get to ask a question this year.
what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you're going. That's why you want to go. You got your moment because of the question that you got to ask.
I know. So
what
then I'm sulking and I'm like, oh my God, I came all the way here. I mean, then I was like looking at all the pros. I'm like, it's still an internationally broadcast TV show.
Sure.
People from
You're
all
on
over the
television, which you
world are
love.
going to watch me. So I just suck it up and
they're going to watch the contestants,
right.
But okay.
They're going to see me on the pageant. So I just sucked it up and just went on with it. And I take it really seriously. I read everything I was supposed to read. I looked at all the photos and videos I was supposed to look at. And
you got a ridiculous jacket.
I got there Saturday, Sunday. Wait. So I figured this is great. This is why I'm doing this on the podcast. So if I were to have asked a question, this is what I would have asked. And actually, let me explain. So they told the judges that the reason why we weren't going to get to ask questions this year is that the pageant claims that they knew going into Sunday night who the top 15 were. So the pageant already themselves came up with questions for all 15, even though there weren't 15 at the interview stage. At that stage, it was less than 15. It was only 5. Right. But they came up with questions for all 15, not knowing which would go through. And they said that they specifically chose questions relevant to their home countries.
Okay, so let me back you up 1 second. So you only realistically were voting on 15 people.
Correct.
You weren't looking at the entire field.
No.
No.
Okay. The girls were there for 3 weeks before the pageant, doing all sorts of different things, including preliminary competitions. And other judges evaluate them and scored them, and that's how they whittled the field down from 80 to 15.
3 weeks. It's like training for war or something. 3. That's a long time to be.
I know, and to be away from home, it's a long time.
Sure.
So if I would have been able to ask a question, my first question would have been, and this is just me speaking. Usually, how it works, like how it worked last time in 2009, is I gave them my question and then they whittled it down and made it a lot more concise. So this is the non-concise.
It's what I do on this podcast. I can relate.
It's the non-concise question. Okay.
It's the rambling version.
All right, my question.
Give me the question.
All right, here we go. It has become glaringly apparent in 2015 that gun violence is a global issue and not just one especially affecting us here in the United States. Many people, including the former owner of this pageant, the problematic Donald Trump, are very in favor of guns and gun rights. What do you think international leaders can do to make this a safer world?
Good question.
Thank you.
I like it. I don't even think I would cut it down. How about that?
Well, I mean, it might have been have it cut down a little bit just because it's a little bit long, but I liked it. My backup question, in case they didn't like that one, would have been, one of the biggest issues of 2015 is the refugee crisis. Many people, including the former owner of this pageant, the problematic Donald Trump, are against taking in refugees. Do you think it is the responsibility of nations in peace to accept those fleeing war-torn areas? That would have been my follow-up, my second.
Yeah, I would have fallen asleep during that question.
Well, that was my backup one. You know, the gun.
Thank God.
Anyways, well, I didn't get to ask either. Although the theme there was both mentioning Donald Trump and problematic.
Yeah, no, I think we got that.
Well, and actually, so when I would have presented the questions, I would have not mentioned Donald Trump, but I would have mentioned him on air. Right. Anyways, flash forward to Sunday. The briefing was Saturday. And on Saturday we have a dress rehearsal. We go down to the stage. They show us in person how to work the tabulating machine. Very serious stuff. There's a standards and practices person there for Fox. There's a lawyer there. These people really take their job seriously.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's an international show. At least they have to give the appearance that, it's legit.
Yeah. So Sunday comes up. I wear my fabulously festive Christmas suit, which I was very excited about. I was like, all right.
I'm sure you were.
I was like, I am not getting to ask a question. At least I'll wear this ridiculous outfit and hopefully people will talk about it.
Be honest. Do you think about me when you put ridiculous things like that on? Do you go, what is Booker going to say about this one?
No,
you must a little bit.
I've been doing what I do for longer than we've been doing our podcast.
Yeah, that's true. But no one's been busting your balls quite like me about it. That's my only point.
Actually, here's a little tidbit. So that suit, for those of you who actually did like it and want one, it's from Oppo Suits. I paid for it, and
I'm sure you did.
And I don't often pay for stuff like that. I'll get it sent to me. I'm really lucky. I feel.
No, let me be honest. I thought you actually looked really good.
Thank you.
It was loud, but I'm accustomed to seeing you wear loud things, and I didn't think it was off-putting or. I mean, it was strange. It was typical Perez strange, but it wasn't bad.
Well, that's what I was going for.
Yeah, it looked nice on you. I got to be honest. It did. It looked pretty nice on you.
I wanted to stand out. I wanted to be Perez-ish.
Congratulations.
Anyways, I bought that suit a year ago because it took a long time to get. There was like a wait list for it. It was very in demand.
That I don't believe.
No, it was. I went to their website and I could not get it delivered in time for last Christmas.
It's because they made 3 total.
I don't know why, but whatever. I couldn't get it in time for last Christmas, so I bought it. It arrived sometime early 2015, and I didn't have any appropriate event to wear it to this holiday season, so I wasn't going to wear it all. And then I got the call from Miss Universe. I'm like, bam, wearing it to that. It was a hit. It made people smile. Everybody loved it. Everybody wanted their photo with me and my suit. Anyways, we go to the venue and it's time for the show. And what's interesting is, they brief us not just about the procedure, how to vote. And actually, I mean, it's all so fascinating to me, right? Like, okay, so we vote Olympic scoring, meaning decimal points and from 1 to 9.99. There is no perfect 10.
Okay.
And my first question was, because you have to think about so many different things at once, was, okay, that first girl that comes out that we're judging, she's kind of the bar, right? Okay. So does that mean we rank her a 5? And then they told us that the judges typically agree on a number as the lowest, and that by this point nobody's really a 5. Although I mean I didn't put up a fight. I sort of wish that like we could have just really truly voted from 1 to 99. So we all agreed as judges that the lowest score we'd give somebody was a 7.0. So that's the bar. But also, we knew who the 15 chosen were before we started voting. Because they announced the 15 that then it was the swimsuit.
So you could eyeball them.
Yeah.
Basically, you could eyeball the 15.
I eyeballed the 15 so that I had a moment to like look at them and know them before I had to start voting on them. So the first one comes out, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, you have instantly your favorites in mind for a variety of reasons. And they explain to you that it is a beauty pageant and you really are looking for a beautiful girl. But it's not just beauty. And I think that that's really important to clarify, because I think a lot of people, especially judging from the comments on my social media from Colombians, they're really upset Miss Colombia did not win.
Yeah.
I will go on the record right now and state Miss Colombia was the most beautiful contestant.
Without question.
But I don't think she deserved to win the title. And she didn't win the title for a variety of reasons, and I'll get to them all. So going into the swimsuit portion, I had a lot of thoughts about everything, and you can vote for whatever reason. I mean, you could really vote for whatever reason you want. And Oh God, I wonder if I'm going to get in trouble for this.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering where you're going.
Well,
is it about sexiness?
No, no. Meaning, like, for me,
say it.
I voted.
Just say it.
Well,
what are you trying to say?
I really took everything into consideration, not just, how they look in a bikini, but we also got to see their packages. So for me, at that point already, I was, thinking about them as a person and not just an object, because you got to hear them speak.
I don't agree with that. I don't think you should. I think that round is for pure objectification. That's why you need a heterosexual guy like me on the board. I guess you got Emmett filling that void, but you need a guy because I think that's the part of the show that is erotic is the sexy part.
You want to know
how she's standing there in that bikini. That's all.
But
you're cheating by looking at the rest of the package
I'm not
using that. I wouldn't say cheating, but you're. I don't know.
Let me finish.
You're able to be. I'm saying you're able to be swayed because you know a little bit about the person.
Well, you'd be foolish not to keep that in the back of your mind, and they tell you to consider everything. But having said that, Miss Philippines. Okay, here's the difference also between Miss Philippines and
Miss Philippines wasn't sexy.
Here's the difference between Miss Philippines and Miss Colombia. Miss Philippines came to win. Miss Colombia came to lose. Colombia came there as if she had already won. And that's sexy also and intoxicating to have that confidence. But I think that she truly believed she was going to win. Whereas Miss Philippines came with something to prove. So I kept everything in mind, but I was also truly judging each category for what it was. So before they switched into their swimsuits, I saw them all, and I didn't think Miss Philippines would rock the swimsuit competition, okay? And actually, what I did, and not every judge did this way, because you have to vote so quickly. You literally have 20 seconds to vote in the swimsuit pageant. I tiered my voting. Let me explain this to you.
So, you're boring me to death. This is no fun.
No,
Come on.
Boring to you, but it might not be boring to other people.
No, it's boring to everybody. No one gives a rat's ass how the thing is judged. Everyone wants to know what the hell happened.
Well,
That's what we're trying to get to.
I'll get to it, but
my God, when are we getting there?
We need to take a pause from the Miss Universe craziness. A, because I'm hungry, and B, because I need to talk about something that fills my hunger. Sherry's Berries. I love me some Sherry's Berries. They sell freshly dipped strawberries starting at just $19.99, and they can ship it to anywhere, wherever you are. And you can also double the berries for just $10 more. To get this deal, go to berries.com and use my special code Perez. And they also sell more than just chocolate covered strawberries. They sell snowman brownie pops, chocolate dipped peppermint cookies, cheesecake bites, and more. I'm feeling fat and yummy and happy just listening to all of that. So once again, go to berries.com, BERRIES.com, and use my special code Perez.
The PHP.
Introducing Play.it, a podcast network like no other. From award-winning news programming and #1 sports brands to entertainment and business leaders, Play.it is delivering storytelling at its best.
We're going to be having conversations with newsmakers and culture shapers.
I will be talking mostly about fashion and how I've been marketing all my life.
Tech, culture, and entrepreneurship.
Everything in the world of sports entertainment and wrestling and beyond.
Hear what you've been missing at Play.it.
Listen to CBS Sports Radio every weekend for non-stop sports updates and breaking news, including analysis of the hottest topics in sports.
CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio.
Listen live every weekend on air or online at cbssportsradio.com. Looking to get the best deals at your favorite stores? CBS Local Circulars has you covered with access to the hottest sales around, from electronic stores to baby stores and everything in between. Go to circulars.cbslocal.com today to get great deals from retailers like Target and Macy's.
The PHP, the Perez Hilton Podcast.
Now, back to the Miss Universe pageant drama. So the system that I used was, okay, at the swimsuit, and I used it for the whole pageant. So because we were starting as low as 7-0 and going as high as 9-9, for me, I would prejudge, and I would often switch numbers. I would prejudge the girls. So to me, I would give them a 9 if I definitely wanted them to go through before they even were there. And then I would give them an 8 if I maybe or yes, and then I would give them a 7 if I definitely didn't want them to go through. And then I would fine tune it, right? So like for me, Colombia was always a front runner. So I gave her a 9. And then as she came down, oh my God, I still remember this moment so vividly, right? Colombia.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was a different moment. Anyways.
No
it was
one
the
cares.
beauty it was the
Dude, everyone's tuning out. No, everyone's tuning out. Nobody cares. This is like you're getting into the minutia. Just everybody wants to know what happened. This is so boring.
It's not boring. Anyways.
It's so boring, Perez. Come on, get to the point.
Anyways, what I wanted to get at was...
Which you're not.
Well, because you keep interrupting me. I judged each portion for what it was, and a girl can sometimes really perform and surprise. I wasn't expecting much of Miss Philippines from her swimsuit portion, so I had already in my mind thought she was gonna not be that good, and then she came out and like boom, gave me fierceness, and then I saw her big old probably fake titties jiggling, and she owned it, and I was like, wow, she is rocking this. So I was originally gonna like score her way lower, and I ended up scoring her way higher. So yes, I was keeping everything in mind, but I was also scoring each portion for what it was. And a girl could really surprise you. And that was one of the questions that somebody asked me on the red carpet. What are you looking for? And I said, I'm looking for somebody who will surprise me, for that sparkle, for that it factor. And she really surprised me. I was not expecting her to be so fierce and fabulous in the swimsuit pageant. So anyways, we move forward. By then, my favorites were Colombia, Philippines, France, USA, and Japan, and then and Venezuela and Dominican Republic. Anyways, those are my six favorites.
Did you all kind of agree on the 6, or were they?
Well, we didn't really do too much talking at that point. We each just voted individually.
Okay.
Then the evening gown portion came, and when the evening gown portion happened, I thought by that point that Miss Colombia was for sure going to win. In my mind, Colombia won the evening gown portion. And I'll tell you the moment specifically when I literally like squealed in my seat. She's walking down the stairs and she did not even look down. She could have tripped, but she kept her eyes on the prize. She kept staring forward. I mean, it was a risky move. Almost all the other girls, I think there might have been 1 or 2 that didn't look down, but almost all the other girls looked down to make sure that when they were going down the stairs, they weren't tripping. But Colombia, fearless. She owned it. I was like all about Colombia. And then what also made this pageant different was they introduced a second question, right? Usually they just get one question. This year they got 2.
No one cares.
Well, it was really a second opportunity for the contestants to be seen, not just visually. It's not just a visual competition. It's not just who's the prettiest. It's really who is deserving of being Miss Universe. So then when it was the interview portion, I thought that Colombia gave a great answer and that the Philippines gave a great answer. And then I was starting to be a little uncertain, but I was still favoring Colombia at that point. Mm-hmm. And then when it was time for the advocating, like, why should I be Miss Universe? That's when it became certain for me. Because also at that point, oh my God, I don't know if the people at home could see this, but Miss Columbia was being straight up diva bitch rude to her translator. Did you see this?
Really? No.
Oh my God. Oh my God. She was giving like the most awful side eye and throwing major shade because Miss Columbia was not happy with the pace or the way that the translator was translating. You didn't see that at all?
No, I missed that.
Oh my God. I was dying. I'm like, she's being cunty right now. Like, what did you see at home?
Well,
like,
was that a turnoff to you? I mean,
it was a major turnoff.
Major turnoff.
Yes.
So you just didn't want her representing, quote, the universe.
Not just because of that moment.
No. I'm with you. I mean, you're looking at, like you said a minute ago, when I was sort of kind of paying attention, when you were saying it's the whole package. There's a whole litany of things that, it's not just a girl in the juggly boobs and the bathing suit. There's you want to get to know the person a little bit. So that was the moment that kind of swayed you where you said, you know what, I don't think she's Miss Universe material.
But it wasn't just that she didn't give the best answer, and it wasn't just that she came across to not just me, but several of the other judges bitchy and arrogant. It was that Miss Philippines gave a better answer.
Right.
So it was the second time that she gave a great answer and actually a better answer. And by that point, I just felt like, wow, she really brought her A game and was super competitive, but also almost like she just deserved it. Like, she deserves it. Like, there's, to me, a real beauty and grace and elegance. And if she is Miss Universe, whereas the Miss Columbia, I'm like, you're Sofia Vergara. You're not Miss Universe. You are, like, she literally, I'm like, you look so much like Sofia Vergara.
She could have been her twin sister. We said that this morning. I mean, she looks like her twin sister.
Well, I didn't hear you say that, and we didn't say that. You said that.
Oh, no, I probably said it on the air, not to you, but to someone else. But yeah.
I know. It's spooky how much she looks like Sofia Vergara. Whereas this other girl, I'm like, she was just being herself and not trying to emulate anybody else, I felt like, and she really earned it and won it fair and square. And here we go. So, but I was still literally up until it was the final three. I knew for sure I did not want Miss USA to win because she's cute and sweet, but to me seemed really bland and boring and lacked the elegance and gracefulness and the stage presence and the fierceness. Miss Philippines is fierce. Oh my God. She was fierce. That's so many times. And fierce is not a word I would use to describe Miss USA. Colombia, definitely fierce. Fierce and sassy, right? Super sassy, super Colombian.
You would call my mailman fierce. I mean, please, you use that word all the time.
No, I don't think Miss USA was fierce.
Okay.
Anyway, so up until the final three moment, I still wasn't sure who I was going to pick. But then it was just like, you know what? It just felt right. Like, I really felt like I had to take everything throughout the whole night into consideration. Everything that the pageant told me, what they were looking for. It's not just a physical beauty contest. And I went with my gut and I voted for Miss Philippines. And then actually I found out afterwards it was unanimous. Every single judge on that panel, all four of us voted for Miss Philippines to be number one. So then when Steve Harvey announced that Colombia won, I wasn't shocked. I can't even speak now because I was shocked. I was in shock.
And let me slow down this moment because this is where I can take over. So I asked Perez this morning, and I found this to be very eye-opening. I said to Perez, I said, now you had talked with the other judges. So you at that point, when Steve Harvey had read the name, did all the judges look at one another? Because my assumption was that you four agreed upon all that you guys had picked the same person. You all agreed, right? Verbally to one another.
I'm trying to. We sort of agreed. I mean, somebody could have. Okay, somebody could have changed their mind.
Somebody could have flipped. Okay, but at no point did you. You didn't think that they did. You had the impression that, wait a minute, we all uniformly agreed that it was going to be.
But we didn't look at each other just because I think we were all in shock. Like, we kind of all knew something was off.
Right. So your first thought...
My first instinct...
No, this is what I found alarming. I said your first instinct, Perez, when you knew what everyone on the panel was thinking. There's 4 people on the panel. There are 2 other sort of votes, the fan vote and some other... What was the other one?
The pageant contestants themselves.
Yeah, so there's 4 to 6. So your initial thought was what?
My initial thought when Steve Harvey announced that Columbia won was, this is rigged.
That's what blew my mind. I couldn't believe that you'd said that.
Why?
I don't know.
I for sure thought, not rigged, but meaning...
No, rigged. I mean, rigged is the word. I mean, because you had talked to the judges and, Did you, at any point, let me ask you this.
Yes, rigged. Okay, wait.
Rigged,
What I was trying to get at was, it all happened so quickly, right? So... Well, I did think it was rigged. I'm like, how is this possible? But then it became clear, or allegedly clear. Then Steve comes out and announces that he made a mistake, or that a mistake was made. If you go back and watch it, he didn't really say, I made a mistake. He said, I'll take responsibility, which is what I also found that really bizarre. Why didn't he just at that point said, I read the name wrong? I don't think he ever said that, did he?
I know. And I think what he saw on that card and seeing that card this morning, and if you've seen the card in the rounds, I was telling my girlfriend, I go, I think they handed him a card with 2 names on it. And the first, look, he's hosting. He's got to look out into the crowd. He doesn't have time to sit there and read a card. He sees a card. The first thing says 2, and it was for second runner-up, but it was very small print. It said 2, so I gather he thought that person was number 2 and number 1 was the winner, not first runner-up. I think that whomever put this card together, whoever it was, they screwed up. They should have put the winner at the bottom, very big, and the winner is what they did.
Did we look at? No. Are we looking at different cards? Because the card I saw
apparently on the right side of the card, it did say that. But he's hosting and he's holding it in one hand, so he's basically reading from one side of the card. So you know what I mean? Like if it all was written,
but underneath the name, on top of the name, it said her ranking.
Right, but it said second and then first. You just saw 2 numbers. And I'm with you. I hear what you say, because it did, in fact, say second runner-up, first runner-up.
I guess I see what you're trying to say.
Right. When you see a 2 and you see a 1, especially while you're hosting, you're not really paying attention to the whole card because you're not reading the card. You're just kind of cheating with the card. You're looking down, you see a 2, you see a 1, and that's what I think happened to him. I think he was probably upset that it was put on the card that way because it made it easy for him to screw up. I think if it was just 3 names straight down, it would have been a lot easier for him. I think that's what happened to him. And he probably didn't want to admit that he screwed up. He screwed up.
I mean,
I just love that you thought that the fix was on.
Well, no, I especially when Steve came and said there was a mistake, I was like, oh my God, they did this on purpose for publicity.
Right.
Like, this is the best thing that could happen to the show to get people talking about it.
Without question. I mean, first of all, we wouldn't be talking about Miss Universe today. It may be
would, but not
it may be a
depth.
fleeting story. It may be we would on the podcast. I'm talking about the public in general.
Yeah.
It would be a little thing like, and by the way, on the Miss Universe pageant last night, Miss whatever Philippines won. Congratulations to her. That'd be the end of the story. But this is now it's taken on memes. The Steve Harvey memes are the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, I still find it really hard that he could mess up that badly. I mean, especially because they go through it more than one time. On Saturday, they go through everything. Like the way that we judge, even for us. So up until the final 3, we're voting Olympic style from a 1.0, but we didn't start that low, to a 9.9. However, then when it comes time to the final 3, we switch how we vote, and we vote 1, 2, 3. 1 being number 1, whom we think should be Miss Universe. 2 being the second runner-up, the first runner-up, and 3 being the second runner-up, right? Yeah. So that's how we vote. So he should also know that things are different. I don't know.
I'm with you. I mean, look, the guy fumbled on the 1 yard line. He really did. He did a great job. He had a great game. He was fantastic to watch and listen to. And at the very last second, he made a colossal mistake. But at the end of the day, I think they should have him hosted again next year because it'll be even more funny. And I got to tell you, more people would probably watch. You know,
maybe
it worked out great for everyone. I think.
I was
except for Miss Columbia.
I know, that poor girl. She won and was Miss Universe for 2 minutes.
They took the crown off of her and put it on the other girl.
Did you guys see that? When did they stop the broadcast?
That had to go on for a minute, at least a couple of minutes, maybe.
There was so much uncomfortableness and awkwardness.
So tell us behind the scenes, what happened? What did they do? Did someone pull Steve aside? How did that go down? And what did they say to you guys, the judges? Anything? Were you just kind of left out there flapping in the breeze? Like, what happened?
You want to know what they said to the judges? Well, I don't know what they said, but Emmett came over to me, Emmett Smith, and said there was a shooting outside the theater right as the pageant ended. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? I'm like, I thought people were going crazy because of what happened. I mean, people in the theater were going crazy. They were booing and yelling and like, wah, wah, wah. I'm like, somebody was shot? Is it really that next level? Like, oh my God, like I was starting to freak out. And then there was this like pandemonium and chaos on the stage. I don't know exactly the chain of events. I think somebody took Steve backstage or so. It's just crazy. I was a little bummed, not bummed, but I mean, jokingly bummed. I had a cute moment earlier in the show where I got to throw some shade at Donald Trump. And that probably would have been the most talked about moment, or one of the most talked about moment, if it weren't for Steve Harvey's major F-up.
Perez said this morning that he felt that Steve Harvey stole his thunder today.
He stole my thunder. He totally did.
Yep.
Actually, so here's some more tidbit. I have to thank Niecy Nash for that, because if it weren't for Niecy, I probably would not have come up with that one-liner. So what happened was we knew ahead of time that there was going to be a moment during the show where Rosalind Sanchez would come and speak to the judges, and she would ask us each a question. And we didn't know what our questions were. So then Rosalind comes, and it's our time to do our segment, and Niecy smartly asks Rosalind, what are you going to ask us? So then Niecy saw her question, and then I saw mine. And if I had not seen my question ahead of time, I probably wouldn't have had the 30 or 45 seconds extra to really think of that Donald Trump moment. So she asked me, in case you didn't watch, what the big difference was from Miss USA, which I judged in 2009, to Miss Universe now. And I said, well, the biggest differences are that, one, a lot more people are watching Miss Universe, and number two, thankfully, Donald Trump no longer owns this pageant. And then everybody lost their shit. It was fabulous. There was like cheers and hooting and hollering.
And you owned the night. You owned the night.
I had the smuggest smile on my face. I was smirking up a storm. I was living for it.
Your moment. You had it.
I was trending on Twitter. It was all great. And then Steve Harvey had to come and fuck it all up.
Oh, well, is there anything else you want to add to the pageant last night? I mean, I think you've explained it all. I think we know how it works.
It's important to know that Miss Philippines won fair and square. Mm-hmm. All of the judges thought so. She deserved to win. It's not just a physical beauty contest. Mm-hmm. And I think in many ways, though, that losing is the best thing that could have happened to Miss Columbia.
Yep.
Because
she's in a win-win situation. No matter, however we look at her, we're going to sit there and think, oh, that poor girl. She had the crown. She had it for all of 1 minute, and then it was taken away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now
she's the underdog now.
Exactly. And people are rooting for her now.
Sure.
Instead of thinking, oh, she's so perfect or this or that or the other. And I think that she could and probably will have a much more successful career after Miss Universe than Miss Philippines will. Mm-hmm. Like, Miss Philippines is perfect for being a Miss Universe, But I really think that Miss Colombia can go on like Sofia Vergara and be a crossover success in the U.S. and, be a Spanish language personality, or if her English improves, be an English language personality. I mean, she is smoking.
Yeah, she's hot.
And that's that. Our special rushed
emergency podcast.
Should we talk about any other things?
Nah, let's wrap this up. We got the whole thing about this. We're already at 45 minutes.
Do you have any other questions for me?
I can't think of anything else. The one thing that really stuck with me is that you thought that the fix could be on, and that was shocking to me. I thought maybe you guys were in on it. I actually didn't know what was. I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. I just didn't understand. And then when
I didn't understand.
You didn't understand either. That's what I mean. It was mind blowing. But when we found out, though, it was really great.
I mean, I really thought it was rigged just because, it was the first pageant without Donald Trump. It was a new network. I'm like, wow, they really want publicity. They're bringing me back. They're doing this. Whoa. But then I was like, they can't do that. I mean, like, that's against the law. Like, there's the lawyer there, the standards and practices person, like...
And nothing against the people of Colombia, but it is sort of a corrupt kind of country. If you watch Narcos, you may know a thing or two about it. So, I mean, for them to win, and you're thinking it could be rigged, and it was them that won, like you're thinking, did a drug lord just buy this thing? Like, what just happened? It was great. I loved how it all came together.
And you know what? I agree with you. Next year, they should bring Steve Harvey back and
you back for sure
to co-host.
Hey, let me say one thing to the people out there that put shows like this together. If you think about Big Brother England, you look at Perez. What were you, top 10 most Googled people in England last year or something like that?
Top 3.
Top 3, whatever. Still in the top 10. Okay, it's great. Okay, so look at you. The first time you went on the pageant, you had the moment, whether you had anything or not to do with this moment on this pageant. My point is, when you put Perez in things seem to happen somehow. It all comes up Perez roses. You know what I mean? So put him in more shows, because I want more things like this to continue to happen. There you go.
Too.
So there's my plug for it anyhow. But everybody, thank you for listening. I guess we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.